Hey, it's all D&D to me. I'm your host, Peter Delios, Dungeon Master. I'd like to start off with by just giving a little background about myself. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was 10 years old, and I'm 53 now, so go figure that, right? Who knew it'd be a lifetime of adventure, right? Started with first edition, right into second edition, then it went to third edition, and then to 3.5, then to 4, and now we're with 5e, and the pending 5.5e that's coming. Or some would call it 6th edition, but let's go with what it is. And I'm glad it's going to be cross-compatible with 5e, because I know back in the day when 3.0 came out, a lot of people were a little unhappy with that they switched right away to 3.5, and then everybody bought all these books, and they're like, oh no, well now 3.0 isn't compatible with 3.5. So it looks though that I think Wizards of the Coast has kind of learned their lesson this time, and we'll see what that brings us. But right now for 5e, I gotta say, it's a blast. I've been having fun. I've got my old friends from first and second edition trying it again, and we've been playing 5e now for quite some time now. It's probably, I don't know, probably we took a little hiatus from Warcraft, and yeah, we've been playing now for about a good 4 months, maybe 6 months, and we're having a blast. Now I've played with some other groups when 5e came out back in 2014, and had just as much fun learning the rules as much as I'm relearning the rules now. You know, as a DM, you can't always call it right. It happens. You sometimes you don't get the rules all the time, and you know, I don't think it's not that the DM should be aware of pretty much all the rules if he can be, but you don't have to be a rules lawyer. You need to be able to, I think the mark of a good DM is to be able to basically ad lib. You need to be able to ad lib and come up with stuff off the fly. You know, you don't always have to go by the book. You know, yes, it keeps, it definitely, the rules keep the game together. It keeps it, it gives you a basis for everything that happens in further adventures as well. And I've got that, and I think most DMs have that, you know. But on occasion, you know, you one of your players might call you out. You forgot the rule. Well, you know what? I think the best thing to do is don't stop the flow of the game. Keep the flow of the game going, because let that combat resolve, or let that issue resolve, and then try and then go back after and say, hey, you know what? Let's look at that rule and see where we might have went wrong, or where I might have went wrong as the DM. And but enjoy the experience, enjoy the playtime. It's amazing what a bunch of good group of friends can do as far as playing. It really does keep camaraderie. That's the thing. I mean, in some of these other video games I've played with my friends, we enjoyed playing them and getting together. Sunday nights was our night. Sunday nights was our D&D night back in the day when we were playing when I was younger with my friends. And, you know, that camaraderie we missed while we were playing some of those video games. And yeah, that was the biggest thing. We loved playing Warcraft. We played, but what happened, you know, we really weren't talking as much. So no knocks on Warcraft. You know, Warcraft is a fun game. But we're finding now that, now that I convinced them to try to come back to D&D, they realized, you know what, the camaraderie is there. We're talking more. It's just like the old days. And it's a big change for all of us. But when I was playing 5th edition with the other groups, that was a big change for me, because I was used to 3.5. We were playing that for quite some time, and then we kind of brushed on upon 4. Each edition has been a big change for me, going from 1 to 2 to 2nd edition, advanced rules. It was, but I'll tell you, I believe that 2nd edition and 5th edition have a lot in common. It just flows. It flows, where 3.5, I love 3.5, don't get me wrong. It combat was bogged down. It was slow. 4 was fun. I liked the little at-will abilities, the utility power abilities, and those were fun things, and you could move characters around if you played the Warlord. That was a fun addition. Except it just lacked what 2nd edition and now what 5th edition brings to the table. I do kind of miss some of the conditions that were in the 4th, like the bloodied condition, and some of those abilities that the characters had to be able, like especially the Warlord class, to move characters around and get them out of danger. But we kind of got a little of that in 5th edition. There's some classes that allow you to do that. Like the Echo Knight. The Echo Knight can move his shadow and get himself out of harm's way, as well as I believe the Battle Master has a move like that, I think, as well. Don't quote me. I could be wrong. See, there's a rule I might not know. But all I can tell you is, DMs, don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to be wrong. If you're wrong, you know what? The players are going to let you know anyway, because most players are pretty up to date on their rules. DMs, yeah, you should be up to date on your rules. But, again, the makings of a great DM is to be able to ad lib, to be able to, on the fly, change a scenario quickly and be able to adapt it to your story. Because once you can adapt that to your story, the possibilities are endless. You can create stories on the fly that will coincide with whether you're doing a published module or not. If you're doing, the starter set, and you can ad lib so much. In my campaign, the Red Brands now, I kind of went on the kick with that. The Red Brands are actually, I've combined actually the Red Brand, the Red Brands, I've combined the Red Brands with the Cult of the Dragon, okay? And I've combined the Lost Mines of Phandalin, the starter set, with the Essentials kit, okay? So it's an amazing run that we've been having. I've been able to make a bigger module, but what I've also combined it with, and back there I have it, I've combined it with the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. So I have this amazingly big campaign that I'm running for my friends, and I'm going to take them to level 20. Regardless, some of them may survive, some of them might not. And that's just part of the game. Death is part of the game. And I think some of the most memorable games I've been in, some players have died. And it's just they're having fun. And that's what counts. The players are having fun. I'm creating stories that aren't even in these modules. I'm using these modules. I'm using these adventures. In the old days, we used to call them modules. Now they're called adventures. And I'm combining the stories for them. and you know, they're having a blast, and that's what counts. And you know, Dungeon Masters, the big thing I can recommend is don't be afraid to improvise. Don't be afraid to add. Don't be afraid to add magic items that might not be in the adventure, because the biggest thing is magic items are a big thing for players. That's a big reward. Yes, leveling up is a reward, but magic items as well are a reward. Now, you don't want to overpower your characters quickly off the bat when they're in the low levels, but the rewards are great. And the modules, you know, again, the adventures are balanced out. Again, I like to ad lib. I like to make my adventure a little bit unlike the adventure that's written, because I think you can run them as written, and that's great. They are balanced to be run as written. But I find that I like to be creative, and when I add a little bit of my own story to that, it brings the creativity to the table. The character, the players get to feel it. They feel the story that I'm building, and that's just an amazing thing for characters to feel like they're part of this story. Yeah, you can do that with, of course, with running the module basically as is. But when you add some depth to that story, it makes the characters feel like, wow, we're a part of the story. We're driving this story. The DM, like I always said, one of my famous quotes I say to all my players, the DM provides the map, the players are the car, and the players are the ones that are steering it down the road. And that's just one of my favorite quotes when I'm playing D&D. I tell all my players that, you know, you guys are the car, I'm the roadmap. I'm giving you guys the information. You drive it where you want to drive it. If you got a DM that railroads his characters into going here, going there, it basically, it's not fun for the players. It's not imaginative. So yeah, you gotta be imaginative. Be able to be creative. Be able to ad lib. Don't be afraid to go off the box. Don't be afraid to add something into the adventure, into any of these adventures right here. Don't be afraid to add anything to these. Okay. I got one upside down. All right, here we go. Don't be afraid to add to these. Okay. You can create some great stories that the characters will remember for a lifetime. My friends and I, we go back and we sit and we reminisce. Even though when we were playing video games, we'd jump back and reminisce about, hey, do you remember when back in 2nd edition when we were playing the Throne of Bloodstone and your paladin, Sir Goth, went and charged Orcus, and Orcus hit him with the wand of Orcus and killed him automatically because Garth, and I was Garth, the paladin, my paladin had a sword, a sentient sword that they're called now, and they were called intelligence swords then in 2nd edition. It made Garth believe, you know what? Hey, you gotta go charge that demon. You gotta go kill Orcus. And Garth had no control over that. And he ran up and he went and tried to kill Orcus. Well, Orcus killed him. But the rest of the party, of course, eventually killed Orcus, and they resurrected Sir Goth. So anyway, be imaginative. DMs, don't be afraid to be imaginative. Players, the same thing. Use your creativity, use your imagination to create more of the story, because you're part of that story. Anyway, this is DM Peter Delios, and it's all about D&D to me. Have a great day.